Alright. Hey, Shalom Bakarium. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors and salutations to the elders, the apostles of Great Millstone, as well as the elder bishops. And greetings to the hopeful, faithful elect, the few, the chosen, the remnant. Alright. And this thing is about the chosen being saved out of Babylon the Great, aka America. We are in the last days. Beyond the last days that the scriptures speak about. All right, we're at the latter end. And I just want to do this lesson. By the way, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are the true biblical bloodline Israelites, which goes back to a man named Jacob, whose name was changed to Yasha'Allah, or Israel. Okay, he had 12 sons, which those 12 sons became the progenitors of 12 different nations. All right, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, as well as the Israelite foreigner Gentiles scattered abroad that might look like the heathen. So the title of this lesson is going to be Project Bluebeam. All right. So let's take a look at what it, because people have been conditioned over the years. We've been speaking about this for years, starting with our elders, going back 20 plus years, man. And then some of us, we pretty much stepped into their labor, and we've been out here for 9-8 years. And by the way, my name is Makwadash, all right, from the Los Angeles branch, Pasadena semi-division, you know. Not that if that matters, but just to introduce myself. But we've been all waiting for some goddamn, you know, some hologram, you know, to pop up in the sky, Jesus Christ with his sandals on. You know, some of that has probably been happening, but I don't, you know, you have a lot of land mass these people have to cover to work something out like that, and there's no way to really. So we're gonna get into it, because Project Bluebeam is seeming to be not what you really think. Okay, and we'll get there. It's not what we're expecting, and the holograms in the sky, like, you know, it's more, all right, they're actually, Project Bluebeam is in effect right now. So let's read. I just Googled Project Bluebeam. I probably could have did a deeper search, went to another search engine, but let's see. Project Bluebeam is a fringe conspiracy theory alleging a covert plot by NASA, and NASA goes back to a Hebrew word, Nashah. I forget what it means. All right, and I actually know it. I just can't think right now. Cloudy mind, man. I'm just getting up. And global elites to use futuristic technology. You see? And holograms to simulate a fake alien invasion and stage religious events. The ultimate goal, proponents claim, is to trigger mass panic and establish a totalitarian government. Totalitarian, total control, right? And it's not a conspiracy theory. It's because it's not a theory. It's an actual conspiracy, right? It's an actual conspiracy. Let me hold. The theory was created in let me hold this scripture, because when I go there, I be done forgot. All right. It is it's a conspiracy. It's not a fucking theory. Alright, if I could ever find, here we go. Man, I can't stand these people. I just gotta block them out, man. These niggas is always hovering around you. Goodness gracious, man. It says the theory was created in 1990s by Canadian journalist and conspiracy theorist Serge Monast. It outlines a systematic 4-step process, discredits, you know, no, let's go, nigga, get your faggot ass on. It says discrediting existing religions, staging fake earthquakes and archaeological discoveries, convince the public that all major religions have misunderstood or are completely false. Yeah, that's one of the things, you know, make you believe Christianity is false. It is. The Bible ain't dealing with Christianity. It's dealing with the biblical bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the Hebrew Israelites, which the followers of who you ignorantly call Christ, whose name was Yahushai, he was Okay, Christ is a Greek way of saying Christian. So he was a Greek way of saying anointed. He was already anointed. All right, Mashiach is the Hebrew word for anointed. So I could see if we was running around saying we're the Mashiachims. Okay, we're not Greek, so why are we? You see, so there was a movement, all right, but it was really just a persecution of the Mashiachim, the followers of the Messiah, and they were all Hebrew Israelites. It wasn't one heathen. Even the Gentiles were bloodline Israelites who were living as heathens. Okay. So yeah, that's one reason, right? Staging fake earthquakes and archaeological discoveries. Yeah, I've been seeing a few clips. I didn't pull them up, but you know, Esau Edom, he throw it out there real quick. I noticed these few clips that I've seen two different ones where Esau is the so-called white man. That's his biblical nationality that the global international elites, which are so-called white people, are running from, and they've deceived the world. They've changed all your history books, textbooks, okay? Changed all the nations of tables, their original nationalities that are in this Bible. And then, you know, through pseudoscience, they changed the whole narrative. Okay, all these different conspiracies. All right, about who they are, who we are, who the Most High is, right? And so they gave you Christianity, right? So for white supremacy, so you could worship white angels, white Lord, you know, JC, white God. These are not the true images of the Most High. When you read the scriptures, and period, okay? Because being an Edomite comes with the story of how they became Edomites, how they became to look like so-called white people in a world that were full of dark-skinned people already, right? So this is part of it, you know, making you believe ET is out there, all right, and further pushing you towards pseudoscience. And I got two little clips to prove what I'm talking about. Further pushing you into their Darwinism, natural selection, meaning, you know, their pseudoscience, which is evolution, you know, the Big Bang. And we don't know anything past that. We just know that at one point everything appeared, and over naturalist, you know, through Darwinism, natural selection, over millions and billions of years, things just got into order. And this is what we have here, all this complex life, the balance of life right here, you know. There's no such thing as God. There's no designer to this. If there was a designer all of this, then wouldn't the Bible teach you about the aliens, the gray species and the reptilians and all that? No. All that shit is made up. And now I'm going to have to go into Genesis 6, dealing with that Anunnaki and the fallen angels, because you people misinterpret the Bible when it comes to that. Let's get through this so we can play the video. Electronic telepathic communication using low frequency waves to transmit thoughts directly into people's minds, making them believe they're chosen. God is speaking to them. All right. And Esau probably not even doing this, but he'll put that out there. All right. He probably has the technology or something that can interfere with your brain waves, but I don't believe he can put thoughts in your mind that you're chosen. All right. Nah. He can't tap into your spirit like that, but it's witchcraft. He can say that. Now you're running around, oh, okay, well, see, he must be hitting me with brain waves. And you actually have that going on right now. You have a whole community called Target Individuals where they think they're being bombarded with thoughts all day. If anybody, they be doing that with us, not with you people. You're not significant enough. All right? Simulated alien invasion, engineering supernatural chaos, UFO sightings and alien encounters to force nations into unifying under a single new world order. They don't even have to do that for protection and salvation. Well, they have to at the same time. There's like a joint communal agreement just in these nations' spirits. And I brought a lesson out there not too long ago. I think that was Ronald Reagan, where he gave a couple speeches, 3 different speeches talking about alien invasion and the nations putting aside all their differences and coming together if this thing ever happened. So they know they're doing damage control. They want to control the narrative. All right. The so-called white man, the ones at the top, know that the Israelites, the people of God, have a
Loco 205 radar check. Anybody?
Have a space force themselves that we don't. All right, that we're not even tapped into all the way yet. Okay. That's why the old Negro slaves used to sing those hymns about the chariots coming around the mountain, swing low, sweet chariot. The angels, man. These are angels. All right. Mainstream historians, scientists, and independent researchers universally dismiss Project Bluebeam as a work of science fiction, noting that the technological requirements of the theory far exceed known human capabilities. It is frequently discussed, and all in one is on your nickels, on your dimes, on your dollars. A Latin word, a pluribus unum, all in one. New World Order, all the nations coming together, man. All right. So let's get, and the nations are going to come together to fight the Lord. That's in the scriptures. But let's start off now. Let's play these videos first. This is an example of what I meant by we're waiting to see these holograms, but they ain't even got to do that. All right. Project Bluebeam has already started. All right. Let me get back to it. So we're going to start with this video. Because the angels manifest themselves all the time. And especially to the saints. The scriptures say that the angels encampeth about them that fear the Lord. You see? So we all have assigned angels over us. And it's a personal thing for us because we see the angels in their distant form. The cherubims, right? That's the vehicles that they glide around in. The cherubims, the angels are, entities themselves. And then their vehicles are known as creatures. When you go into the book of Ezekiel, they have spiritual bodies. They become one with the rider. All right. So we see them in that form a lot of time. Certain brothers have seen, angels have personally showed up to, our camps where we teach. Right. So it's a personal thing for us to give us courage and strength to go on. As it says in the book of Chronicles, the Most High, his eyes go to and fro throughout the earth to pretty much put confidence in them that believe. I forget how it says it. Oh, to show his strength to those who, I'm gonna have to get that in a few. All right. To the faithful, we see those things and we stand upon our feet, like Ezekiel said. You might be hanging your head low a little bit and you see a chariot and you start thanking the Lord, man. So the so-called white man, he knows what these things are, but he needs to paint the picture of E.T. and green Martians and the grays and the yellows, the reptilians, because of this major piece of policies and control. All right. And I'm mistaken for the word that I'm trying to use, that they're trying to do with you people right now. Okay. Mistaken identity. They want mistaken identity for the most important piece of information the world has ever known because of this mischief, all right, that they're about to pull at the top. This small piece of information that I'm doing this lesson about can be the determining factor whether or not you people actually adhere to these new laws that these Edomites, the international bankers, the so-called white man is about to establish, draconian laws, and whether you rebel. All right. Because let's get to it. Let me play this first. If you understood that these are the angels.
It's certainly real. It's using an energy field, the type of anti-gravity effect.
I think I have a responsibility to...
Copyright Act, Copyright Act, Copyright Act, Copyright Act. I want to use the Copyright Act because I'm not making any monetary gain. This is for educational purposes only. These are just small examples so I can get to these next few scriptures. This will be a quick hitter.
Investigated.
Somebody was threatening me and said, if you don't deliver the sphere, such and such is going to happen to you.
Two men dressed as policemen tried to take the sphere and suggested that someone, somewhere, was already trying to take control of it.
There have been spheres found.
So you'll see these type of, I hate saying spaceships because that's you people's term, but spaceships, crafts, chariots. The Bible calls them wheel within a wheel, flying roll, a cherubim, chariots. Okay. Flying horses, a cloud by day, fire by night. And we often see these type right here. They look like a cloud from a distance up there. They look cartoonish, like fourth dimensional. And then you also see the metallic type. Now see, people will see this, and that looks exactly like what we be looking at, but we don't ever see it that detail. All of a sudden we got this detail. And a lot of times at nighttime they come lower, because during the day they want to keep some space. Because you got to understand these. All right, we're going to get the scripture. This is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the earth. Meaning they're just scouting this place out. They're all over the place. Like the prophet Elisha said, it's more of them, it's more of us than them. And when you go into that account of Elisha, he had to pray to the Lord to open his servant's eyes. His servant got scared. They were on the run from the Syrian army, being chased down. Okay, and Elisha's servant, his understudy, got afraid, as if they had been backed into a corner. And so Elisha prayed. Elisha was Elijah's understudy. He prayed to the Most High, can you show this man that we got a whole squad in the sky? Okay, because all of the chariots were cloaked. So the Lord opened up the man's eyes, all right, uncloaked all of the UFOs that was all throughout the sky, man. To say, don't even worry about it. We got you. You got backup. Okay? So this is why the so-called white man wants to bring that confusion. That is his actual job, is to deceive the nations. In Revelation, the 20th chapter, it elaborately speaks about that. These people would go throughout the four corners of the earth to deceive the nations and draw them to the Armageddon, the Third World War. All right? One thing these nations can't agree is that we are the Israelites. Okay? All the elite of these nations know what's up. And then the rest of the Goyim, they just indoctrinate you and miseducate you. Okay? The elite of all these nations, from the Chinaman, the Arab man, the East Indian, the Persian man, they know that this is our power, the power of the Israelites. So they have to spin the narrative, okay? And have everybody thinking, you know, oh, that's the enemy, the enemies, the green, the Martians, okay? Because they're getting ready to roll out the mark of the beast, you see? And they want you people to worship their image, not the Most High's image, not the prophets, not the truth, but their image. So these are the lying wonders. These are the lies, and you know, you have to understand why they want to control the narrative. You see?
Before, in the United States, special forces thugs go in and get them, and people have been killed possessing them. A Green Beret who was shown several extraterrestrial devices, one of which was a sphere.
The object above the podium was a metallic sphere. In the next section over, I could see symbols start to appear above where that LCD screen was. Symbols? The hieroglyphic lettering, but the strange thing about the...
Yeah, let's put the hieroglyphic. Let's make it look like the Hebrews, some ancient shit. You saw that? All of this is acting, man. The phone at the chime, but the average mind will sit up here and the average mind will sit up and make way to accept the confusion. Because again, people don't want to hear the truth. That would mean that it's game over. If the angels are scouting this place out, you know, and this place is cursed already, right? And these are the angels of who you ignorantly call God. And what we're saying is true. God's true name is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahweh Shai. And we are the biblical Israelites. And the whole world has had a piece in wronging us. That's a tough pill to swallow. Cosmic disclosure. Let's play this other one so we can move on, man. That's a joke, man. But hey, that's why this place is known as Babylon the Great. Babylon meaning confusion. Okay? Nothing but confusion. One end, you got certain people coming out saying, yeah, they're spiritual beings. And somehow y'all flip that and say they demons. Okay, then where are the angels at? Okay, if there's demons, then what about the angels? A demon is nothing but a left-hand angel of the Most High. Okay?
When the Sherman family moved in, they noticed a lot of weird things happening.
It looked fake.
And to make a long story short, they saw everything.
And mainly it's so-called white people, because they understand you people only whenever the white man talk, it's more credible. And they're going to get our own people. Look, it's only beginning. Look, they're going to go harder and harder before they issue the mark of the beast. That's why I'm doing the lesson. This is that information standing in between you and taking the mark of the beast. We was talking about this in camp a few weeks ago. If you people really understood, like they really came, humbled down and said, put it in the news. All right, the gig is up. Yes, these are the angels of Yasha Allah, the biblical Israelites. We're not the Israelites for real. These are the people. Yes, God exists. And these things have been documented all throughout history. We have more detailed footage of them. Okay, we got this information, because they got a lot of information. Some of them have been taken out. They got these telescopes. They could see further into space than us, right? Then guess what? You people will repent overnight. Niggas will stop smoking. Oh, really? Is it? We at the end? Niggas will stop smoking, stop committing adultery. Y'all start listening to the prophets and stop looking at us crazy. You stop lying on us. The majority of the people, man. Okay? You feel me? And then Jake can just get ready. That's why the scriptures speak about the Most High coming upon the people like a thief in the night, blinding them with a spirit. The Lord has blinders on you people because that's not what he wants. Okay? That's why this devil was set up and given over to the earth, Job 9:24, so that he could deceive the earth. Because not everybody's going to be written in the book of life and healed and converted by the truth. So that's not what the Most High wants. So this guy's just doing his job, man. When I say the so-called white man, I'm talking about the international bankers, the one that gave you all your your book context, your libraries, your movies, your food, your GMOs, everything okay, that was written in these books and taken out of these books, goes back to the international, the elites, these multi-billionaire, trillionaire families that own and regulate all these corporations that owns, okay, your judicial and executive branch, all the way down to your laws, man. This who you paying taxes to, really?
Thing from literal werewolves who they shot multiple times and they ran away, monsters, UFOs hundreds of times, little blue balls that float around and seem to be intelligently controlled that ended up actually killing their dogs and incinerating them, little red balls that flew around and terrified their horses. And the Sherman family...
Demons are real. Look at this comment. Demons are real. They are disembodied spirits of the Nephilim. See? That's a big one. That's why I did a lesson last night. I'm not going to post it. I got to shorten it down. This whole Genesis 6 chapter, this fallen angel Nephilim thing, dealing with the giants, you have no clue what that's talking about. That's literally talking about the sons of God, the Israelites. Are those fallen angels? Because you people don't know what an angel is. The Hebrew word for angel is messenger. The elect, the prophets, the men that teach. Me right now, I'm a messenger. I'm coming in the state of a messenger. So a demon, when a demon jump on a person and talking to him, you think you're hearing voices in your head. That's a messenger. That's an angel. On the left-hand side of the Most High. You see, so this Nephilim thing, you created a whole, as the scriptures warn us, fable and myth. And now you've done that with the UFOs by the help of the so-called white man. See, we're in the time of the so-called white man standing with his enchantments. Let's get that real quick so we can go back, Michael. Let's start with this first. Woe meaning destruction. So this is the Lord. This is the Lord talking to you, mischievous, you international bankers, you people that's getting ready to try to pull this mark of the beast government system off, this technocracy, man, of oligarchs. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. The Lord said, the death and destruction to you. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hands. So this is a conspiracy. This is what I want to get, because it's not a theory. It's an actual conspiracy. It's in the power of their hands to do this. They own they own you people. They got you under all these contractual agreements, and you're stuck. You're in debt. You have to pay bills. You can't get locked out of this system. You can't get unlocked out of this system. I'm about to run into something else, but now I forgot that quick. Because I was holding something. I wanted to get that mic and run into something else real quick. Let's just go to Revelation 13, man. All right, and it was given. This is Revelation 13:7. It was given unto him. Notice the word given. I always say given. That's the same word I point out in Job 9:24. The earth was given into the hands of the wicked. This is the Most High's movie. All right, and Esau has received the leading role of the damn villain. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And really, this information war, it seems like they're overcoming us because there's so many lies and confusion out there. But actually, this is the Lord's setup. This is what the Lord wants. The Lord doesn't want, Yahweh Bashmi Al-Shai doesn't want, nigga, what you park right here for, you stupid motherfucker? Okay, the Most High doesn't want the world to wake up. Only the elect. And we clearly bring out lesson and lesson and lesson, bringing out those precepts. Only the chosen, only the favorited people that the Lord chose to have mercy on is going to wake up. And not only that, they're going to be required to use faith, which is a gift from the Most High. That's going to be the leading component on whether or not you're going to make it or not. Do you believe in the unseen? And actually, everything is not unseen. Okay? A lot of it, the Lord is starting to show. Those signs and wonders, right? Just to boost our faith. Okay? Oh, that's what I was trying to get earlier. In Chronicles, the Lord's eyes go to and fro throughout the earth to show himself strong unto his servants. When we see these things, it represents the Lord's strength, and they're still lightweight. When you see him, you talking about some fucking ET phone home. Complete folly and vanity. When we speak about him, we speak about revolution and liberation and peace and the lifting up of captivity, man. All right? So it seems like the so-called white man is overcoming us by this information war because his power is deception and the sword. Not being creative and inventors and you know, building kingdoms and being integrable and being valiant. Is deception and destruction and murder. That's his blessing. Every nation has their blessing according to this Bible. It says, and power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. So like it says, Job 9:24, the Lord has given him the credence of having power over the earth to do what he's doing, deceive the nations, not only with witchcraft and sorcery, okay, and enchantments, but policies as well. It speaks about that in Daniel's. Oh, that's where I wanted to go. Let me bust that down real quick. This is Isaiah 47, because this is what time we're in. Esau, Edom, is the king over modern day Babylon, in the scriptures known as Babylon the Great, or Mystery Babylon, or the daughter of Babylon. Okay, he's linked directly with ruling over the last Babylon that the world will ever see, the most confusion the world would ever see. This is his kingdom. All right, this is Isaiah 47, and because that's what this chapter is going into. In 12, stand now with thine enchantments, okay, and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth, yet from the inception of America, 1776. If you just do a little bit of research and go into the whole Washington layout, it'll blow your mind, and it'll have you thinking, who in the hell does some shit like this? From the layout to the mathematics to the, you know, the I forget what you call it, the phallic symbol, the way they built the structures, all of that shit is Masonic, satanic, left hand, I'm gonna say tutelary deities. Man, what the hell, bro? Which are demons that are channeling themselves through symbols and signets and stuff like that. That's what's going on. You got these people that are playing with these spirits, and you know, it's really not a game. All right, but they were given over to these things. That's why we tell you the so-called white man is the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan. So they're standing now with their enchantments, right? And I should go into the word enchantment, but I got to keep this thing going real quick. You see how this just threw me off. The whole goddamn whatever that was. And with the multitude of thy sorceries wherein thou hast labored from thy youth, if so, thou shalt be able to profit. If so be thou mayest prevail. So the only way you have any hope in prevailing, and you might be able to profit, shit, you gotta do what's best from the beginning. What did I bless you with, Esau? Serpent. You know, it's funny because you people talk about the reptilians. Well, when you read Genesis, it speaks about a race of people. The serpent represents a nation of people, the sons of Adam, the wicked line that came out of Adam, which are the Edomites today, the so-called white man. Okay? They've been standing with sorcery and witchcraft. The Hebrew word for serpent in Genesis, all right? I don't know why I can't remember that word. I know it too. I just can never remember it because I always get it mixed up with another word. And I can't even remember that word right now. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what's going on with my memory. You know, I had to hurry up and jump up. I came to work late. I was dead asleep. And so I still feel that shit, man. But it's going into a warlock, serpent, right? That word in Genesis. And if you look on the the ambulance trucks and a lot of different you going into these mythologies, you'll see Caduceus sign, which is the serpent wrapped around a staff, dealing with witchcraft, right? So that's the so-called white man's blessing. Deception. That's literally the definition, the Latin word for the word devil. Okay, and what? The sword, destruction, and mischief, right? Corruption. That's his blessing. That's how this man has been ruling the earth. And he's deceptively been doing it to where people have accepted it and fought for their own destruction. So this is what they're doing. They're standing with their witchcraft. Okay? Let's finish that Revelation 13 because we're about done. I just want to hit these last few precepts. It says, okay? So right after what we just read, the 7th verse, power was given him over the kindreds, the tongues, the nations. All right, he's ruling over you people with witchcraft, sorcery. You're boxed up. Okay, your reality is in this box of what the so-called white man says it is. Okay? And you got to work every day. You can't really prove this stuff. You too busy. You too drained by the end of the day. It says, all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him. See? And in return, you worship the so-called white man. Oh, man. Shit, he got the technology to actually capture an alien? Wow. These aliens are supposed to be so much advanced than us. They came from light years away, but the so-called white man is the only people who can actually shoot them down and catch them. You see? And they that dwell upon the earth shall worship him whose names are not written in the book of life. So if the Lord's not dealing with you, if you're not already in his book, all right, predestinated for salvation to receive this truth first and foremost, you're going to worship, all right? You're going to worship the beast. You're going to worship this. See, the phone had the time. You're going to worship the system that's set up before you. All right? It says, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. Because it was already preordained before who you ignorantly call JC to go up on a cross before the world was even created. That was written into the story that the Most High created for this thing we call life. Okay? You see? So it was already preordained that certain people would receive the truth and others would be deceived. The deceived and the deceiver are his. I would choose their delusions. That's what the Lord said. Okay? If any man have ear, let him hear. He that leadeth in captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the faith and the patience of the saints. So you Christians, you talk about faith. But right here is speaking about the faith of the true saints. And who led into captivity and who killed with the sword? This shit right here, man. Who did that? Okay? That was done unto the Israelites over here in America. By the Edomites, by the so-called white man. This is why they're running from that nationality. because the Bible tells you that the Edomites would bring the children of Israel into captivity, and on ships, and that they would take all these land grabs, remove the ancient landmarks, and do all of these other things. You know what I'm saying? Land grabs, stealing a man's heritage. The scriptures tell us those things about Esau, Edom. He would ruin the earth, destroy the earth and the people by his policies, the order of things, right? He would turn everything upside down. He would make a world to where it's good set against evil and evil set against good, right? It says, this is 14, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles. See, AI, artificial intelligence, has just made it that much harder, because now you wonder what you're seeing. Before they start pushing this stuff, you only had to go by what we were saying. We were telling you, oh, these are angels of the Lord. These sightings that people are seeing, angels of the Lord is getting ready to return. Repent, the kingdom is at hand. The so-called white man is going to lie. He's going to confuse you more and more if you don't lock in and really get the understanding that are coming out these scriptures from the mouth of the Lord, his prophets. And now we're at the point where AI is taking over and you can't tell what's what. So more confusion, right? And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by those means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. The beast is this whole system we're under. Okay, mainly really, is going into the so-called white man's whole power structure, from the national, NATO, the EU, the European nations, the allies of America. Okay, and the small hats are the least of that flock, right? That is drawing America into the Third World War. It says, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast. See, so this information is very vital. The truth behind the UFOs in itself. Okay. So you wonder, why would they lie about that? Why would they control the narrative? Because they're getting ready. They need you to worship their image. The word image right here, when you exhaust the word, it's icon. I believe it's icon. I forget right now, but it's like icon. You make an idol out of it. Image, right? Or likeness, resemblance. That's what the meaning of it is. Okay? So they want you to people to have the mind of the system, whatever's programmed into you. Okay? Feminism, God-fearing country, patriotic. You people are fighting for your own destruction. You're still patriotic, but your leaders are telling you they molest babies and they drink blood and shit, which had the wound by a sword and did live. That's going into Rome, and it's going into how Rome is back through America. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, and to the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So this is going, in a specific route to where this is literally going in this route. If you don't want to be controlled by the narrative of mainstream media, what the so-called white man is saying, really soon, okay, there will be threats of death and taking away allowances and universal basic income, because that's what's coming next. You'll be outbarred from society. You'll be threatened by death. You'll be sent to a concentration camp and never seen again. All right, that's how angry these people are at the fact that the prophets are here to stay, and that this true testimony has come forth regardless of the trillions of dollars they've put into propaganda over the years, textbooks, commercials, Super Bowl commercials, okay, Pan-Africanism. Certain leaders for you so-called black people had to be paid off to push Pan-Africanism and all these other movements, the Islam, so that you Israelites couldn't come back to the fact that you're the people of God and this is the truth. Billions of dollars have been, you see? So it's not a light thing. That's why in the book of James, the 5th chapter, it speaks about, it says, how ye rich men, it's over for you. Your riches are corrupted. Everything they built is over at the very sight that this truth, okay, the elect is being woken up now, because this represents the end now. The fall of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. And his next move is to, try to chip the whole world with microchips to try and have full control, as their control literally withers away in the spirit, because it all starts in the spirit. Information war, the truth, right, versus lies. And then what? The Lord's going to do the heavy lifting and take this man out of power at his coming. 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter. And he had power to give life into the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many. Yeah, that AI is speaking right now, and a lot of people are going to get caught up with that. You're going to have a lot of false, the government, they're going to start a campaign of, persecuting and prosecuting people that don't agree with the narrative, that won't worship the image, and AI is going to be used. Okay, right? Let me get this real quick. The mark of the beast is the RFID chip. No man should be able to buy or sell without it. And that's what the system is already here. I've been peeping out things. The system is already laid down. Okay, we just need a false flag. They need a narrative to go by, which that narrative, they got streaming narratives. They got several narratives they can go by. They could use the war. They could use food distribution. They could use the pestilence, right? All of the plagues that the scriptures have on the table right now. Okay? This is 2 Thessalonians 2 and 9. Even him. Let's start at 8. And then shall the wicked be revealed. Who are the wicked? The Edomites, the nation of Esau, Edom, the so-called white people. They are the border of wickedness, as it literally states in Malachi, the 1st chapter. These are the people of the Lord's indignation forever. These are the people that the Lord created to play this role. Isaiah 32, Romans 19. Okay? So these people don't want to be Edomites. This is why they'll, again, like I said last night in my lesson, why is it that these people are the only people on the earth that have their biblical nationality? They say they're the biblical Israelites, or the JOOs of the Bible, but nobody else has their biblical nationality. What does that mean? What is that about? That's because they've deceived the world. They want to control the narrative, right? While actively destroying the people in the world. And when the wicked be revealed, they're revealed. They're revealed mainly to the elect. And even other people are starting to see that these people are the wicked. That's how out there in your face it is. So the fact that you still have people sleep, that's truly a sign from the Lord that he's not dealing with you. Okay? Whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. What's the spirit of the Lord's mouth? His prophets. Okay? And we're doing digital epistles every day. Not only that, but we're going out into your city streets right in front of you, so you have no excuse. You can't say we sitting in the church. We couldn't find you. Little do you know, the disciples over 2,000 years ago, they were street preachers just like us. They had camps, all right, and they were divided up, and they were teaching throughout the different cities. It says, consumed with the spirit of his mouth. All right, these people at the top, they know who we are, and they're being consumed. They're afraid, and shall destroy the brightness of his coming. That's why everything's changing. All right, they're changing up everything to their new world order, because they figure as this is their last stand. Okay, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. So what's the brightness of the Lord's coming? This UFO invasion that they're planning on. This is why they established the 6th branch of the military under Donald Trump's first term. They're not going to tell you that. Of course they're going to tell you that we don't know. We caught Area 51. We got aliens down there we testing on. Of course they're going to tell you that, because they want to acknowledge, they want themselves to be God. They want full control over you and your mind. All right? And they've been planning this for this day. This has always been in their back pocket, okay? If these people ever wake up, if we ever start seeing an influx in these chariots, we're going to have to create a doctrine and control the narrative, and then start chipping these people. To drop the dollar, devalue the money system, bring in another money system, destroy the current governments of all these societies, and bring in all-in-one, one world religion, Scientology. Destroy Christianity at the end. Use it until the end, but then destroy it. You see? So destroy the people's faith right at the end. Have them believing in Christianity and then destroy their faith. The whole time the truth is here. You don't have to get rid of the Bible. It's actually here. You just need the correct understanding. With all, get it understanding, see? And that's the very important part that you're missing. And Satan don't want you to do that. Even him who's coming is after the working of Satan. Yeah, because these people, they come after the working of the spiritual demon Satan. This is who they worship. And they're actively telling you people this in 2026. Okay? What was that a few years back where the World Health Organization, they showed you people on mainstream media doing a ritual by some shaman. Okay? And these are the foreign entities that's coming out on mainstream media telling you Americans what the new laws are going to be for the future and shit. Bugged out shit. Actively doing high level witchcraft. Okay? Right in front of you. Nigga, hurry up. Staring at me, you weird ass nigga. It says, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness. Oh, we didn't finish it. Even him who's coming is after the workings of Satan with all power and lying wonders. They got you people wondering and worshiping the so-called white man through this technology and these lies and these controlled narratives. You see? And with all deceivableness, so it's all deception. And unrighteousness is unrighteous as well. Okay? All of this technology is not being used for the betterment of humanity. Social media, man, these women have become more bigger sluts through that. And unrighteousness in them that perish because they receive not the love of the truth that they might be saved. And for this cause, Yahweh shall send them a strong delusion that they should believe a lie. And that first step to that strong delusion is Esau, Edom, the wicked ruling over the earth. All right. So we're going to end it with that. But let me end it with this. And there's so many, we could actually go into the ships and go into detail. There's so many scriptures I could bring out, but I wanted this to be even shorter, man. So we're going to end it with this. Okay? Because we got so many videos going into these things, bringing out the detail of the ships and, those particular scriptures and how the Lord's going to come back and, in what fashion. But I just wanted to keep this right here. This is Psalms 18 and 9. This is an account of King David being delivered by what you ignorantly call UFO from his enemies going to war. And he bowed down the heavens also and came down, and darkness was under his feet. So this is speaking about space, the cloud, think about the sky, right? At nighttime. And he rode upon a cherub and did fly. Now, when you go into go back to the time of Exodus when the children of Israel escaped the Egyptians and they went into the wilderness. I just did a lesson on this. I don't think I uploaded it. I think I scratched it. All right. The children of Israel were commanded under the priesthood to create a cherubim of wings, 2 wings that overlaid the Ark of the Covenant, which was synonymous with the prayers of the saints that are taken via the angels back to the Heavenly Father. It speaks about that in Revelations, like how the angels come before the Lord with the prayers of the saints as a sweet savor of incense. It's like a sweet savor of incense, to the Lord to hear our prayers. So if you want to extrapolate that and put your mind to it, just think about that. The UFOs, right? Maybe not literally, okay, I'm going to take this prayer, I'm going to zoom all the way up. But technically, yeah. Because these are interdimensional beings, right? So that's what a cherub is. It's just like a wing, right? Which represents the chariots, right? The chariots, your concept of an angel, they don't necessarily need to look like that, like a dude coming down flapping wings. No. When you go into the book of Ezekiel, it speaks about the chariot in itself is a wing on all sides, you see? And he rode upon a cherub and did fly. Yea, he did fly upon the wings of the wind. See, because he don't, like a bird needs wings. All right, the wind are the wings for the, and they create their own propulsion. They don't need any fuel, any propellers, right? That's why that first video we played, Esau trying to make it like he got some hidden technology with some fucking ancient Hebrew on the front of it. Like, man, get out of here, bro. Okay? He delivered me from my strong enemy, 17, and from them which hated me, for they were too strong for me. See? And it goes detail and how he was delivered. But I just want to make that point. Oh yeah, that's what I missed. Yeah, because I should have went here. This is what I should have ended it with. Okay, let's go here. Zechariah 5 and this is why they're afraid. 5:1. Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. So in this context, now the cherubs are being called a flying roll. It looked like a roll, just like a shape. Like, what is that shape up there? Like a roll, right? Just flying, bro. The prophet Zechariah, the prophets, there was no secret. In the ancient world, this was no secret of what, in the children of Israel during the time of Exodus. A literal spaceship, who you ignorantly call JC. Yahushua was in the wilderness with the children of Israel, going before them day and night. Not sometimes, but stayed with them in the wilderness. And the other nations were affrighted because of that. They were terrified. Like, what the hell is going on? Those people, what is that? That's their God? We can't fuck with that. Okay? How you think Moses got the tablets? Okay, the laser beams were the things that came off the ships were inscribed, and the scriptures call it the finger of God, the laser. Okay, the plasma laser, that concentrated fire. That's how Moses received the tablets. And he said unto me, what seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof is 10 cubits. Then he said unto me, this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. They show you these movies where the aliens come down, and then all the world's military's got to scramble to try to fight the aliens. All right, well, guess what? It ain't no aliens. These are Israelites. It tells you in Revelation, the 19th chapter, John the Revelator, the angel showed up and it revealed itself in his physical form to John the Revelator, and he instantly bowed down. And the angel told John the Revelator, hey, bro, don't bow down to me. Get up. Bow down to your power. I'm just one of the brethren. That's literally what he said. I'm a brother. I'm a brother man like you. And you've had certain whistleblowers come out, and admit that they've seen, different military officials, that these entities that they seen look like so-called black people that have never been defeated. They had a ego on them. Look like they've never been, don't even know what defeat is. Okay? This is the curse that goeth forth over the whole face of the whole earth. You don't have to believe me. Shit, it's out there in the, on the internet. Right? For everyone that stealeth shall be cut off as on this side according to it, and everyone that sweareth shall be cut off as on this side. Yeah, this kingdom is finished. And you can't say it's fake. Oh, they want that out there. There's a lot of truth out here because people are afraid. All right, and they know that the people at the top, man, they often people. So certain people, they're like, well, look, it's going to affect us all soon. I'm going to put this out there and let the internet do what the internet do. Let this spread around, right? Because certain shit they ain't going to lie about. They ain't going to tell the truth on one end and then come back and do damage control the next end. All right, but they already understand that you people ain't going to do nothing anyway, even if you know the truth. They already got systems set up for you people that want to rebel when they start showing their horns. Right? They got execution orders for people like that. And that's why you need the Lord. This is why it's so important that the Lord is on your side in these days, man. It's and for everyone that stealeth on this side shall be cut off. Who's called the colonizer right now? Who's boasting themselves about going around the world and just taking people's leaders and killing their leaders and taking their country when they get ready? And you see? I will bring it forth, saith the Lord of hosts. So these spaceships are just doing reconnaissance missions. They're just gaining data, man. They're watching over the earth. All right? Controlling the minds of the kings of the earth, bringing the kings of the earth closer and closer to World War III. You talk about a demon being able to control your thoughts, how much more the angels? That's actually what they're doing. Where is that? I always bring that out in Daniel's, by the decree of the watchers. All right, I broke that word watcher down, the angels. Okay, that they may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. All of these prophecies that we speak about are being brought forth because the angels are working on these world leaders, whether you know it or not. Donald Trump, the people that give him orders, okay? The nigga from Russia, forget his name, Vladimir Putin, the nigga from China. The Lord is in all of their minds, all of the policies, all of the moves they're making, regardless what it is, even if they want to go the alternate way, is bringing them closer and closer to the Third World War and to the destruction of themselves, man. All right. Then said he unto me, oh, I will bring it forth, said the Lord of armies. All right. And it shall enter into the house of the thief. That's Esau, Edom, so-called white man. So they're here. The house, all right. The government is the house that is talking about. All right. Who's running this house? This government. The word government goes back to house management, right? And it shall remain in the midst of this house. See? It shall enter into the house of the thief and into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name. This country is known as a God-fearing country, but it's not really. They just use that. They use Christianity and they used that word God, but they exalt themselves as God. That's what the scriptures say they'd be doing. Exalting themselves as the Most High. Or changing policies and times and shit. Right? Changing the ordinances of the Most High. So you go to court, you swear on the Most High's name falsely. They say that you swear on the Bible in court, right? But the whole court system and legal system is nothing but wickedness, man. Not out of the Bible. So it says these things will be, and enter into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name, and it shall remain in the midst of the house and consume it with the timber thereof and the stones thereof. Because there's going to come a day, you Christians speak about the day of the Lord. All right. The Lord just going to be like, activate. And that's going to be it. And they're going to manifest themselves. And it's going to be like Independence Day. I didn't even get to go there because we're getting ready to end it. 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter. I wanted to bring out the fact that the nations are going to fight against the Lord at his coming. Might as well go there. That's the spirit. Since we on the topic. All right. This is 2nd Ezra 13. And this is where they got the idea for Independence Day and these other movies. Literally. 2nd Ezra 13:3, and I beheld, and lo, a man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. Who is that man? Yahushua, who you ignorantly call JC. Waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. All of them ships. The UFO invasion. And when he turned his countenance to look, all things trembled that were seen under him. So in any direction where this ship is going to be, it's going to be exuding so much energy. Shit is going to be shaking. It's going to be like the earth is going to be shaking. You're going to feel it in your body. You might drop dead, have a heart attack. All right. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice. Those are those laser beams. Like as the earth felleth when it filleth the fire. Because in another part of the scripture it say that, okay, the so-called white man's kingdom is going to be destroyed without hand. So that's like an analogy. Okay, it ain't going to take, the Lord ain't going to have to physically put hands on you. You're going to use spiritual power. All right. And I beheld, there was gathered, and after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. This is the world's militaries. The world's air forces is going to all come together. It speaks about that in, I just had it on the tip of my tongue. Revelations 12th chapter, where it speaks about Satan and his angels against Michael and his angels. Satan and his angels are talking about the people that come after the workings of Satan, the Edomites, the man of perdition, the man of sin. 2nd Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter. So all, not only U.S. Air Force, but all these nations are going to come together to fight the Lord, and it's going to be a flawless victory. They show you that in these movies. To subdue the man that came out of the sea. What is the sea? The Shemayim, the waters. Okay, the Shemayim is known as the heavens. That's the Hebrew word for heavens. Okay, which is the waters. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew upon it. This is an analogy. This is the ship, a mountain. It was so big, it looked like a mountain in the sky. You couldn't see one end to the next end. It covered your whole visual when you looked up in the sky, like they show you in the movie Independence Day, right? But I would have seen the region or place where out the hill was graven, but I could not. Yeah, you couldn't see no end to the ship. The prophet Esdras was given this vision, man. He saw all this shit going down. And after this, I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were so afraid, and yet there's fight. So they're going to be afraid, but they're going to fight anyway. Because the Most High going to make them fight. He going to put a spirit on them. He going to possess them to fight. So that, you know, like when you was a kid, you set up your action figures and you choose who win. So that the Lord could dog them out, man. This is Revelations 1:7. We're going to end it with this. Behold, he cometh with clouds. Now in this context, it's calling them clouds. And every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, all the kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Yeah, so the day of the Lord. Which you Christians act like this is going to be some day where everybody's going to be eating cupcakes and Skittles with milk and cookies, right? No, it's going to be a day where the wicked are going to mourn. You people are going to mourn because you knew the so-called white man is God. That's who you went to for your counsel, for answers, for help. You didn't go to the Lord. You believed every word. The simple believeth every word, right? I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the ending, saith the Lord, which is and which was and is to come. See? So with that, hey, peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. Shalom. Till next time.